Please listen to this message as our menu options have changed. Thank you for calling the City of Zanesville Public Safety Building. If this is an emergency, please hang. Zanesville Police and Fire, Dispatcher Brown.
Yeah, I'm calling about this nuisance noise that you all refuse to address. Is there a particular reason you guys don't want to follow the law? Is it just because it's me and you guys don't care?
Sir, we go through this all the time, and I tell you the same thing over. You'll have to talk to somebody. Brandon, why don't you call during the day when there's more people here? Maybe you can talk to actually somebody else.
I do.
I
do, but nobody takes the call. It goes to voicemail, and they don't return my call. And quite frankly, I call when the nuisance is active, when you guys are supposed to investigate the complaint. But, the police department, for some reason, doesn't want to do that, according to the law. But nobody can explain to me why. So it's either you guys don't want to do your job according to the law, or you guys don't know what the law is, even though I'm explaining it to you, and you play the dumb game and say, well, we don't know what it means.
I'm not playing a dumb game. Hold on just a minute.
Uh-huh. Everything else is more important than doing your job. Fucking quota hires. I'm not hired because you're women. You're not capable of becoming officers. You just sit in the front and abuse people on the phones like good little secretaries. Any day now, dumbass.
What is Patrol Officer Ellis?
Yeah, say that again?
Patrol Officer Ellis.
Patrol Officer Ellis. What's your first name?
Troll. First name's important, buddy. What do you need? What can I do for you?
Well, I asked you your first name. I'd appreciate it if you just tell me what your first name is.
Well, I'll give you first initials, J. How's that sound?
Oh, I guess it's super top secret. All right, well.
What's going on, buddy? What can I do for you?
The same thing that's been going on for almost 3 years now. Apparently you guys never pay attention or something. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. So I've been complaining about this nuisance noise problem. It trespasses my property nearly every night. And I call in and got to deal with the cackling hens up in the front phones there that just want to make excuses and argue and make things difficult. Or just take things personal and act all triggered and everything else because I mentioned how the police department as a whole doesn't do their job, and they take offense to that, and then they got to berate me about how they do their job. Anyways, so this nuisance noise has been coming from these local area businesses that the city has conveniently left out of the city limits. The lines of between the county and the city conveniently just kind of snake right around these properties and allow them to stay in the county, so that way you guys can use the excuse that, oh, we can't do anything about businesses in the county, when that's actually a false statement, because according to the law, you guys can. Not directly. But what you guys are supposed to do when I file these complaints with you guys, or make these complaints, however you want to look at it or state it, you guys are supposed to investigate the complaint and identify the source from your guys' perspective, not just take my word for it or my recordings, although I've got plenty of evidence from my property and at the source locations. Excuse me. So what's supposed to happen is you guys are supposed to investigate the complaint, write up a report, or however you do it. I don't know if it's a report or what you guys call it. You guys are supposed to pass your findings on up the chain of command, so to speak. And according to Ohio Revised Code 3767, it explains that this constant nuisance trespassing problem, this constant crime of trespassing my property, authorizes whomever is designated by the city public servants to handle the situation in the court, to file an injunction against these businesses and force them to either cease and desist their production at night or completely mitigate their noise to a level that's acceptable. Meaning that there is no roaring engine noises or machinery noises or crashing, banging noises from dropping trees on the machinery at 2 o'clock in the morning. Kind of like how normal people act in other parts of the country. They have respect and they pay attention to nighttime because people typically like to get rest and relaxation at night. And anybody with any sense knows that when there's constant noise, it affects people's ability to get rest and relaxation.
Oh, yeah, right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it can lead to health problems, too. I mean, hell, even right. ODOT's putting up walls around to contain the noise from the freeways and highways, because that's becoming right. that's a nuisance to people. So if they're doing it for traffic noise, which is a fraction of the sound, the level of sound of these businesses that they're making, at some point somebody here has got to pay attention. But I guess when there's no accountability to hold you guys to a standard, you guys can just, who cares? We can follow the law if we want to. I mean, that's what it seems like to me.
Well, I don't think that's the case, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Well, over 1,000, possibly 1,500 complaints, somewhere around there, over almost a 3-year period, and you guys still haven't really done anything besides just waste my time. I'm not taking that like as a jab towards you, but because I don't know how much you've done personally, but just as a whole. Even I don't know how to pronounce his name, Sergeant Patnoff. He I have a conversation with him recorded where he explained that he went up to the stave company. He went up there and sat in the parking lot. He admitted that he heard the production noise. But he didn't bother doing a report. He didn't bother writing anything down. He didn't bother passing it on up the chain of command like he's supposed to. He just kind of threw his hands up in the air and said, well, I don't know what to do, and left, and just left it at that. I mean, this is dereliction of duty. You guys have duties and obligations to follow, and if you guys fail to do that, it's dereliction of duty. I mean, you are aware of that, correct?
Well, I'm aware of the term that you're using. I don't know that it'll apply in this situation exactly.
How so?
Mainly because it's a business. It's not in the city limits, like you've already made that clear. But you know what? Brandon, is that correct? Is that your name?
You can call me Brandon.
Brandon, okay. I know that there are a lot of people who are aware of your complaint, okay? So I don't know what all is being done about it, but I know that there are a lot of people that are aware of it. And I'm low man totem pole, so I can't, like I said, I don't have any information as far as what is actually going on with that, okay?
Well, regardless, at this point, you now have a duty and an obligation because I'm speaking to you and I'm filing a complaint with you directly over the phone that you have a duty and an obligation to investigate it. And if you don't bother doing that, and if you don't bother writing your findings down and passing that on, filing a report about the crime being committed, then that will constitute dereliction of duty.
It's in somebody else's hands right now, not mine.
So what you're telling me is that you're not allowed to go investigate?
No, what I'm telling you is it's not in my hands. It's in somebody else's.
I don't understand what that means.
It, not me. Huh?
I said I don't understand what you mean by that.
It means it's been passed on to somebody else, not me. I'm not the one handling it. It's somebody else's, and I don't know who it is.
So you know it's been passed on, but you don't know who it's been passed on to. How do you know it's been passed on then?
Well, because have you made very clear that you've been calling for the last 3 years and umpteen some calls, so a lot of people are aware of it.
But nobody's done anything. That's a problem.
I don't have a clue what is going on, to be truthful with you, buddy. I really don't. So I just know that they're aware of it, okay? And there's nothing more that I can do, except for, hey, to remind them, like, hey, Brandon called again about the noise complaint. You know what I mean?
This is ridiculous. See, this is probably why people don't call and complain about the noise, because this is what they have to deal with. This kind of incompetence.
Well, I'll be truthful with you. You're the first person I've heard complain about it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is probably why people don't call and complain to you guys, because this is how you guys treat people that complain. 3 years, 3 separate situations where I've been given the short end of a stick of fraud, if that's the right way to describe it. December 2018, I had officers file a fraudulent report, manipulate the courts, create warrants, and all that good stuff off of fraud, just to arrest me, to come terrorize me at my place, put guns in my face, threaten my life. Then, let's see, August of 2019, had officers, Lieutenant Rice, as a matter of fact, and a couple other officers there, lied to VA personnel and managed to manipulate them to create this pink slip thing, which they came and kidnapped me from my home and threatened my life if I didn't comply. Acting like complete Nazis. That's what Nazis do, force people to comply. And then fast forward to just last year. Instead of you guys doing your job according to the law, you guys would rather commit fraud and, I guess, attempt to intimidate and harass me and terrorize me on my property. I guess in an attempt to silence and harass me to get me to just shut up. But see, it didn't work. I'm still here.
I'm listening to you, Bob.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about on the phone. I'm talking about in general. Like, I'm still here. I'm still at my property. I'm still complaining. What you guys have done so far didn't work. So that's probably why you guys are refusing to do your job according to the law, because if you all of a sudden decide to do the right thing, well, then it might expose the fact that you guys have committed fraud multiple occasions, which constitutes as treasonous and seditious acts. because of the violent nature and the blatant and willful ignorance of the law, in an attempt to silence him.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
While I was speaking, but sure, yeah, go ahead. I lost my train of thought anyway.
Interrupt you. I apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Are you a veteran by chance?
Actually, I am. Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, but what difference does it make?
Well, just the way you're talking, you come off to me as a veteran. That's why I was curious.
Yeah, it doesn't matter these days, though, because, yeah, we serve, but who really cares? It's all just to make money. It's all to make people feel good about themselves. Say, hey, look, you know, you should feel like you care about veterans, so donate here and donate there. You know, it's.
I was just curious. You kind of had that, you know, that talk like you served before, and that's why I was wondering.
Yeah, well, I know my God-given rights, and yeah, I've served my country. I've seen it from the inside. I've seen the corruption. I've seen what the happenings, so to speak.
The military?
Yeah. Well, not just the military, but the federal government, the government in general. And so it's really opened my eyes to see, even at local levels, how this corruption is rampant.
What did you do when you was in? Just curious.
It doesn't make a difference.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm just trying to get to know you a little bit, that's all.
Well, I mean, we could get to know each other on a personal basis when you're not working, but see, in your official capacity, you act like my friend to collect information that you can use against me. It's called incrimination.
Well, I'm not trying to incriminate you, buddy.
Well, I mean, you know, people say that all the time.
With you.
Yeah. Well, you know, the officers say that a lot. That's part of the job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I told you before, I mean, this is way out of my hands, and I don't know whose hands it's in. So, I mean, I'm really not even on that topic. I was just trying to get to know you a little bit, that's all.
Well, I'm not, you know, just to be frank, and don't take this the wrong way, but this isn't a social call. You know, quite frankly, it's, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning almost, and I can't sleep because of this damn nuisance noise that the public servants here in Zanesville refuse to pay attention to, and I guess are using as a weapon, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Why they wouldn't follow the law, why they wouldn't honor their duties and obligations and responsibilities according to the law and just do their duty. Why they don't do that, I don't know, but it's easy to speculate based on my experience that it's possibly the bigotry that's getting in the way of them doing the right thing. That would be my guess. Because it's not just at the police department level, it's everywhere here in Zanesville. Bigotry is extremely, well, let me rephrase that. Bigotry is an extreme problem here in Zanesville. Let me just tell you real quick, and then I'll let you go. I had a safety issue out here with vultures, because I got neighbors that are too stupid to put their trash in the cans properly. So they attract the vultures because they put out bags of trash, which the vultures can dig through, and it's an easy meal. So every time they see the bags out there, the vultures come back. They swarm back. 30, 40, 50 vultures, sometimes 100 of them will be out here. And so they dig through their trash, of course, tear it up, and then trash blows all over the neighborhood, causes litter problems. But then when the vultures get tired of digging through their trash, what they do is they come over the fence into my yard and start tearing up my plants and tearing up my house and shingle, shitting all over the place. So the neighbors are effectively causing a safety hazard because they're attracting the vultures. Now, of course, I didn't bother calling you guys about it because it just seems like it's always excuses. So I contacted code enforcement.
Right.
Now, code enforcement should have been able to do something about the trash, because it was the trash that was attracting the vultures. But when I mentioned this situation to code enforcement, to John Benson and Tim Smith at code enforcement, all they kept saying is, we can't do anything about the vultures. We can't do anything about the vultures. That was what they kept clinging to. They snapped to this idea that, well, we can't do anything about the vultures, completely ignoring the fact that if the trash wasn't there, the vultures wouldn't be here. So,
do you still have an issue with that?
No, I got a hold of Donnie at sanitation. He actually pulled up one day while I was recording, and I think because I was recording, he was forced to get out and have a conversation about the matter. And it seems to have, well, let me put it this way. It seems to be better at this point, but it hasn't been long enough time to really know if it's been fixed, if you will. So.
Well, hopefully it is. Hopefully that's
Well,
problem solved.
yeah, that'd be nice, because I don't want to have to get a permit from ODNR or whomever to shoot one of these things and hang it on my property to get them to stop coming around. That's what they told me I have to do. So, anyways, to make a long story short, I called the code enforcement to make an issue about the trash attracting the vultures, because they have that jurisdiction or that purview or whatever the word you want to use. That's in their purview. They refused to do anything about it. At one point, I was told that supposedly there was a citation issued, but I didn't get that confirmed. I don't know if that actually happened or if that's just what they said. So, but this is a classic analogy or example for what I've been dealing with the police department and this noise issue. Because it seems like, especially in the beginning when I had no idea what I was dealing with, all I knew is that I was hearing loud noise and it all kind of sounded the same. Early on, I kind of feel like I was taken advantage of by officers, because in the beginning I was confused. I didn't know where the noise was coming from. I'm new to the area. I was relying on your guys' experience in the area to maybe help me figure out which businesses were making the noise. And unfortunately, at the time,
were you able to confirm that?
Oh yeah.
Which ones are?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which ones is it that's causing the noise issues?
Well, primarily there's two usual suspects. The stave company off Sharon Avenue. They operate 20 hours a day. Well, actually it's 24 hours a day, but they have 2 10-hour shifts of production, and then they probably got 4 hours of maintenance on their equipment. That would be my guess. But so they essentially have 24-hour operations. And then Casting Solutions out on Licking Road, their facility makes all kinds of noise. And between these two businesses, the operators there, what's that?
How did you determine that it was from these two locations? I'm just curious.
Well, I started recording at my property the noises, and so I began to analyze the noise and then just memorize the pitch and the tone, and then I just began to drive around the city trying to track it down with my ears. Excuse me. And so
Do you have equipment to analyze the noise?
Not professional, but enough to give me a good signature. And so.
And did you take the equipment to those locations?
No, I can't do that. I analyze the sound, the recordings, and so what I did was I recorded with audio and video at my property, inside and out, and then I go to the source locations once I track them down, stave company, Casting Solutions, and then I record there, and I just compare the recordings, and it's easy to tell that it's the exact same noise. Now, okay. There are multiple companies out here that are making similar noise. They have, I don't know if it's similar equipment, or just for some reason the noise, the production that they're particularly doing is for some reason making similar sounds or similar noise, and so it's made it a little bit difficult to differentiate. But also, one thing I found out that in the beginning that made this extremely difficult was in July of 2018, I had it confirmed through a Public Utility Commission of Ohio complaint that AEP Ohio, the electric company, made changes to the power lines out here on White Oak Avenue. They I don't know what all they did. They didn't specify, but they just said they upgraded the services. They did mention that they tripled the service load from 4 kilovolt system to a 12 kilovolt system. And then they added this mesh network wireless system for these new wireless meters. When they did that, it caused the service lines to start emitting or transmitting a low frequency noise. And this low frequency noise sounds very mechanical. It sounds like a diesel engine idling off in the distance. And so in the beginning there, when you guys were coming to my property, I guess attempting to help me, I thought that it was all mechanical noise coming from these local area businesses. It took me almost 2 years to figure out that IEP had lied to me. And then I had to force them through a PUCO complaint to do a noise assessment at my property, which they did in March of 2020. And they identified high levels of low frequency noise across my entire property. So I'm not only dealing with this nuisance noise coming from these local area businesses that are going unchecked and allowed to destroy the community. But I'm also dealing with low frequency noise coming from the power lines. It's been confirmed by a noise assessment. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is the noise that I originally thought might have been coming from the wastewater treatment plant because of the fact that it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't ever shut off. So at the time, I was attempting to figure out what facilities run 24/7 that could make this kind of a noise, and that was the only facility in the area that I knew of. And at the time, AEP had, prior to me thinking that it possibly was a wastewater treatment plant, AEP had lied to me and told me that they sent technicians out to check their power lines and that the noise was not coming from their power lines. They lied to me. And it took me almost 2 years to come all the way back around to realize that.
Have you made any contact with those companies that you were talking about, the Stave Mill and Casting Solutions? Have you made contact with any of them to talk to them about it?
I've attempted. I've sent emails. I've called. I've written letters to.
Responses?
The only responses I got, none from Casting Solutions whatsoever. I even contacted their parent companies that are out of state. The Stave company, I got a response. I can't remember if it was a verbal response or a written response now. It's been a while. But they just said, oh, it's not our facility. I drove over into your neighborhood, and I don't hear any of our... It was just all excuses. They were playing dumb. So they clearly don't want to play ball and cooperate. So that's when I started filing complaints with you guys.
Yeah. Now, does any of your neighbors up there, do they hear it at all?
They hear it.
If they hear it?
Yeah, they definitely hear it. They're not as bothered by it as much as I am. That's the right way to state it. I think that they've managed to kind of hold themselves up in their homes in a way to block as much of the noise out. And I mean, who knows what these people got going on, too. I mean, who knows if they're using sleep apnea machines that could drown out the noise so they don't even hear it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And to be honest with you, I will never understand how people are okay with this noise. I mean, for crying out loud, the homes that are right there on Sharon Avenue, I don't know how in the hell they're not going crazy and losing their minds because of the noise. It is so freaking loud up on Sharon Avenue. It's loud enough at my property. You know, right here about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile or so from their facility. But the homes right there on Sharon Avenue butted right up to the property. Man, it is so loud up there. I don't know why they don't bother saying anything. And it's either, the only thing that makes sense to me, it's either ignorance or indoctrination. Maybe because they grew up here, maybe they were indoctrinated into believing that it's okay and they just need to keep their mouth shut and just deal with it. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. But regardless, the people here in Zanesville don't set the standard for the for nuisances and noise levels and that sort of thing. What's acceptable? You know, just because these people aren't bothered by it doesn't mean it's not a problem, right?
Hey, Brandon. Sorry, sir. I don't mean to interrupt you again. Can I talk to you about this another time? I got another call right now.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna continue calling and complaining until you guys do your job. So I'm sure we'll get plenty of opportunities.
Okay, well, like I said, I think somebody else is already looking into this, and I'm not sure who it is, but hopefully we can get you in touch with them. Okay, I don't know who it is, but you know, whoever it is, maybe finally get you to them, and I don't know if they're investigating. I have no idea what's going on with it, to be truthful, okay?
Yeah.
But your calls are noted, okay? They are made aware of, okay?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate your honesty, but yeah, just after almost 3 years, nothing's getting done. So clearly, there's a breakdown in the system. So you guys need to identify what that is. But with that, I'll let you go.